it up by 12. Has it. Really good look.
Good morning. We are on our way to the Queens practice session. I am B squad. We've got an hour of practice. I don't actually know what the pattern is, but I'll put it there. Usually they only post it like an hour before practice session, so they don't give us a lot of time to even look at the pattern. And so after practice, I'll have a little recap of how it went, and then we bowl 3 squads of 5 games of qualifying, so 15 games total of qualifying to make the top 64, and that is the first goal. See you soon. All right, there's the bowling center. We're about to walk into the Hall of Fame banquet, and our practice session was an hour long. The pattern's 45 feet, about 2.28 to 1, I think. So definitely playable, especially up 12. What looked good to start was the Criterion, the Hammer, Black Widow Mania, and the Effect. So we've got 15 games of qualifying. I will see you at the end. are back after 15 games of qualifying. I did not do the daily recaps. I don't really actually know why, but it doesn't really matter. I made it. I made it into the top 64. I qualified 21st. So after the first day, we bowled on the burn. I had the B squad. We bowled on the burn, and I didn't really know what to expect. I actually had a good look in practice, and I had mentioned that the Widowmania looked good from in. Well, when I got to the burn, I just wasn't far enough left. I had the right ball in my hand. I threw the Widowmania. I had the right ball in my hand, but I was trying to circle it a little bit, use the burn to the right, and it would either hook a bunch off of it and go through the face, or bleed too much, roll out flat 10. So I'm looking at my first game. I shot 170 with, a couple splits. I had a 6-7-10. I missed a 3-10. I actually made a 2-7. And then, so I shot 170 the first game. It was kind of a bummer. And scores were really high. I think the cut after the first squad was, I guess it was only +1. But then it jumped in my squad to +40, I think, or 74. It had jumped a lot after the burn squad, and I was like, dang, that's crazy, because I literally only shot +38. So I was out of the cut, but I was okay with that, because I went 193, 219, 223, 233. So I found it. The key on this pattern is a longer pattern, was to just move as far left as you could and get hold. It's essentially finding the hold. And then if it did hook early, if I 4-pinned, I would just move left more and make sure that my ball kind of like shot through enough to carry. So the next day, day 2, bowled on the fresh. Again, I'm B squad, so I went in the afternoon. It was 1 p.m. squad, 9 a.m. So 9 a.m., the criterion looked really good in practice. So I started with that ball, and I mean the practice session, and even warm up, it looked great. So I started at 17 with my feet and 12 at the arrows, and I started 4-pin miss. Great way to start the block. And then light strike. By the way, we didn't have air coming out of the ball return, and it sucked. And so I sent my husband up to our hotel room to get the fan that I had brought, and I had put it right where the air would. Thankfully, there was a table there that we could all use, my little mini fan. But I ended up with the next 4 strikes, 9-pin. Gosh, I left so many 9-pins this week. And then a couple strikes, started with 225. So I was like, ooh, that's a good game, 225. My goal going into the second block was to average 220. I would have loved to have been like over 100 over, 120 over by the end of the second block, because I knew at that point it would put me into contention, at least hopefully into the top 64. And I do have to say that I wasn't thinking about scores at all while I was actually bowling, because that can be detrimental. So I shot 239, 219, 201, 229 for plus 113 for those 5 games. So then going into today, day 3, I think I was in 43rd-ish, 40th place. So I was like in the top 20 or top 64. And so then my game plan, we had fresh again. So then this morning it was 9 a.m. A squad fresh, 2 p.m. B squad fresh. I had the same game plan, and that didn't pan out. I started with the criterion. It was so weird because it like hooked in the same spot, and then so my ball like hooked kind of at the arrows, wiggled, and like barely got there. So then one of the ball reps, Jason, put some surface on it. It looked okay. Nothing really looked good, and I was trying not to panic in the first few minutes of practice and even the first few frames. So we hit it, I think, with 1,000, my criterion, because it just wasn't looking good, and I was, trying to go further left. So I started crossing 13, 14, so a little bit further left. I 3-6-10, and I was like, that couldn't have been me, only me. So I went to 20 with my feet, 15 at the arrow. So again, further left than yesterday. 3, 6, 10 again. And I was like, this ball is just not getting through. If I move further left, I'm gonna have to throw it there and then it's, see you later. It's like a 3 count off the right or a washout. So I think I did actually try, I tried it again. I was like, I'll just give it one more go. Move left, 6, 7, 10. And I was like, okay, I'm out of this ball, I'm done with that ball. I put 2,000 on my Widow Mania. By the way, that's what I was throwing for those 2 days. I think I mentioned that, but like the Widow Mania, that's what I was throwing. Except for the fresh. I didn't actually mention that. I started with the Criterion, and then when did I switch to the Widow Mania? It was in game 4 yesterday on the fresh. Game 4, frame 5. And yet, I didn't even get 3 frames of it on day 3. I pretty much should have started with that ball. I put 2,000 on it because I was like, that's such a huge jump to go from 1,000 sanded Criterion to a shiny Widow Mania. So I put 2,000 on it just in case I had to get to it sooner. Frame 4, I got to it of the first game. So then I stood it on 20, looked at 15, pocket strike, same thing, strike, strike, strike. So I had the next 4, thankfully. And I made a preemptive move and it probably wasn't right, so I left a weak 10. But anyway, I bailed out a 206 with that start. And then the next game, same thing with the Widow Mania, 245, which was a great game, 224. And I say great game because I just threw it good and I got a couple trip 4s, a couple high flush strikes. And then I struggled on this 41 and 2. It was game 4. Light strike 4 pin, smash 7 pin, trip 4-9, 2-4-8. It's like, I think I just like shot it through a little bit. 7 spare. I struck. And then a 9 pin. And then I struck. And then a light 7 pin. And then a high flush strike. So I like bailed out. It was like a no double 199. Could have been a lot worse. And then the next pair, the next game, game 5, the last game, I was like 225 over, something like that. So I felt pretty safe, pretty comfortable in the cut. I think the number before the last game was 120, 130 over. So I was like 100 pins ahead of that, but I washed out my first frame. And of course, if you watched last week's vlog, I bowled 118 my first game of the second block to get out of the cut. So of course that's running through my mind, like, oh, you washed out, here we go. So I was like, okay, I need to stop that. I have a good chance of making this. I need to just make it and continue making good shots. Lo and behold, I made the washout, which is amazing. And then I got the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strikes. And then 2 pin, light 2 pin. It was really easy to get the ball right fast and then again wash out. So I was happy with the 2 pin. Got the next 3, 4 strikes, shot 268 my last game to end the block with 142 over and 21st place. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog and all of the shots that my husband took of me during competition. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and leave us a comment. Let us know if there is anything you'd like to see within the vlogs. If you have any questions. I do bowl match play starting on Sunday, so this vlog will air on Sunday, and then hopefully I get a lot of games in match play for the next vlog. So stick around and we'll see you next week.
This brings up by 12.